ICE says assaults on agents are up over 500% this year. But instead of protecting the brave men and women working for ICE, CNN is out with this. An article touting a brand new app.
Done a fantastic job. Even the microphone works well. That's good. Wow.
President Trump will travel to the great state of Florida to attend the opening of a new illegal alien detention center.
I love the state, as you know.
It gives these dangerous illegals a chance to get away. ICE says CNN never reached out.
The facility is in the heart of the Everglades and will be informally known as Alligator Alcatraz. There is only one road leading in, and the only way out is a one-way flight.
Ron and I have had a really great relationship for a long time. We had a little off period for a couple of days, but it didn't last long. It didn't last long.
Is this simply reckless journalism or overt activism?
And a lot of respect for each other.
It is isolated and surrounded by dangerous wildlife and unforgiving terrain. The facility will have up to 5,000 beds to house, process, and deport criminal illegal aliens.
Great honor to be deep in Florida, the Florida Everglades, to open America's newest migrant detention center. It's incredibly built.
These apps are absolutely obstructing justice. What our ICE enforcement officers are doing.
It's known as Alligator Alcatraz, which is very appropriate.
This is an efficient and low-cost way to help carry out the largest mass deportation campaign in American history.
Don't like the law, they should change it.
I looked outside, and that's not a place I want to go hiking anytime soon.
We are truly coming off a historic week of President Trump racking up win after win on behalf of the American people.
We're surrounded by miles of treacherous swampland, and the only way out is really deportation.
It's disgusting, it's wrong, and it's un-American.
Professor.
A lot of these people are self-deporting back to their country where they came from.
We've seen a massive deregulation campaign take place.
It is frightening.
I think it's worse. I think it could be criminal.
We took the FEMA money that Joe Biden allocated.
The American people want to borrow money cheaply, and they should be able to do that.
We used it to build this project, and Ron, was just a little fraction of that money. The money they spent on that project, I happen to know the real estate developer. He's a he never would.
We hate the idea that this guy, the shooter, was targeting, right, firefighters. This app is going to make things like that more possible.
He never really made that much, but he became very wealthy. With luxury, he didn't do well. With people that are not exactly luxury.
We will continue to deregulate.
This is like the cyber equivalent of the people who are trying to block ICE offices.
Where is James? Where is he? You do a very good job. I hear good things. I hear good things about you from Ron, too. No, you really do. He's even a good-looking guy. That guy's got a future, huh? Good job, James.
Every single Democrat in Congress is against rooting out that waste, fraud, and abuse and blocking the 1.4 million illegal aliens who are currently improperly receiving these benefits.
This is not just playing around with apps.
Where is Wilton? Where are you, Will? Hi.
As we all know, the One Big Beautiful Bill makes the Trump tax cuts permanent.
Florida Speaker of the House, Daniel Perez. Daniel? Daniel, thank you, Daniel. Boy, you didn't want to sit up here with us, Daniel.
Marie, I know you don't feel this way, but why are so many in your party intent on protecting such monsters? What is wrong with getting the child rapist?
Hi, Kevin. Good job. Todd, great job.
Look, the president is always willing to work with everyone. He's working with Democrats across the country, Democrat governors, and he said he'll work with people on the far left.
Nothing's wrong with deporting criminals. I think we should, 100%.
Where is Joe? We love Joe. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. Joe is great.
I don't know if the president's even aware of that legislation.
2 days ago, the number of illegal aliens into the United States was zero. Zero. Even I find that hard to believe. Somebody must have gotten in, I think.
The 65-year-old grandmother who has 6 grandkids, who's been here for 30 years, who has not committed any crime.
The people that count them are radical left Democrats. So when a radical left Democrat tells me it's zero, I believe him.
You mentioned the dangerous wildlife at the Alligator Alcatraz. Is that a design feature?
Joe Biden allowed 21 million people, that's a minimum think it was much higher than that.
She is now being targeted by ICE. There are hundreds of stories like that.
He invaded our country just like a military would invade. It's tougher because they don't wear uniforms.
Look, when you have illegal murderers and rapists and heinous criminals in a detention facility surrounded by alligators, yes, I do think that's a deterrent for them to try to escape.
No nation could withstand what we did, and we're in the process of doing it.
I want ICE to focus on the worst of the worst.
It's sort of like men and women sports. It's sort of like transgender for everybody. How could they have done this to our country? And we're never going to forget it.
We do know that some of these illegal criminals have escaped from other detention facilities, like one in New Jersey.
Last year, 15% of all the hotel rooms in New York City were used to house illegal aliens at cost set. They never got for luxury. They never got this much for luxury people.
Rounding up 6-year-olds with cancer getting treatment. People checking in at their actual immigration hearings like they're supposed to.
They made more money with the illegal immigrants.
We want to effectively detain them as best as we can. As for why the president is going, I think his trip to this detention facility actually underscores the need to pass the One Big Beautiful Bill, because we need more detention facilities across the country.
What we're spending on translation and other things to help. In total, the average illegal alien costs American taxpayers an estimated $70,000. That's each. $70,000. I think that number is even low. If you care about balancing the budget.
They are coming in heavily armed, throwing, in many cases, non-violent people to the ground. We have video after video of it.
We've never had an invasion like this. We've had invasions, but we've taken care of them. We've never had an invasion like this.
20 million illegal people from all over the world, and this administration is focused on arresting and detaining them. But in comparison to that 20 million illegal criminal population in our country, we only have 7,000 ICE agents.
That's why the One Big Beautiful Bill includes funding for 3,000 new Border Patrol officers and 10,000 new ICE agents. And I've gotten to know the Border Patrol and ICE very well.
Deport the bad criminals.
Kamala, she was the border czar, but she never saw the border. She never made one phone call. She was some border czar.
It's just to continue to work out this deal and make sure that TikTok stays on for the American people. That's the president's main goal in this.
Probably would have been slightly better than Biden, though. I had to run against both of them.
The 65-year-old grandmother with 6 grandkids who pays taxes.
Fortunately, she was a stiff also. Otherwise, I would have been very angry. I would have been extremely angry.
It interferes because it physically and logistically was interfering.
The heroes of ICE will also help round up and remove members of the savage drug cartels, which are coming back into our country. And we got them out. Now some of them came back in. We just got them out again.
That's why Democrats don't like everything ICE is doing right now.
These are guns of the latest caliber. These are guns that were made over the last period of less than a year. Getting brand new guns, the latest and the greatest. Every day.
President Trump prevailed. That's why he's back in the Oval Office.
All of a sudden now CNN is touting, this app.
Including more than 13,000 murderers. 11,888 to be exact, but I'd probably say the 13,000 is right also. Think of it, 11,888, and more than half of them.
Does the president want that amendment to pass?
The president wants this bill to pass. Meredith.
Hey, what notice did Laken Riley get
None.
when she was ambushed and murdered?
Many of them are out of here already, but it's still it's a hell of a number to be confronted with.
Journalists at CNN who live in many of these cities where illegal aliens are hiding and were let in from the previous administration should be very grateful for. So we haven't seen the clip.
People of the worst order. We're getting these monsters out of the United States, out of Florida, out of all the places.
I just don't understand why an argument to protect a certain amount of people has any weight.
Ron's already taken advantage of it. It's a tremendous advantage.
I actually just spoke to our Secretary of Commerce about it. He was in the Oval Office with the president.
It's a lot of people, and Tom acknowledges it all the time. He respects you so much.
Those are great points. I'm not going to go after CNN. I don't want to help them get viewers.
The way that you never lose focus on making sure that America stays our priority and that the families that live here get the chance to grow up.
Rural hospitals comprise 7% of all hospital spending on Medicaid, and that illustrates that they have not benefited from the massive increase of waste, fraud, and abuse.
This facility here is a fantastic representation of what can happen.
That's all we do when we talk about them.
More power, more authority.
The senator was wrong. The president put out a Truth Social post addressing it, and then the senator announced he's no longer running for office anymore. So I think that case has been closed.
So that they can take control.
They should have done a lot of things journalistically, but we'll just let them live.
We need detention facilities. We need beds to put them in.
Prime Minister Carney in Canada caved to President Trump in the United States of America. And President Trump knows how to negotiate, and he knows that he is governing the best country and the best economy in this world, on this planet.
In 8 days, this facility has been stood up.
I don't know wider investigations that ICE is doing, but they tie a lot of bolts and things together.
You can self-deport. If you go on the CBP Home app and go home now,
you never know in this White House, let's be honest.
That is the consequences of breaking the law in the United States of America. Listen, our job is to uphold the law.
I don't know who that grandmother knows. You don't either. And that's part of the issue.
This is a country of laws. We have a border now.
You know, he's busy working the phones and doing what he needs to do today to make it happen. So we'll see you all later. Thank you. We'll see you in Florida.
You'll never even get to come back here and work.
We might see a grandmother, an aunt, or someone.
A 6-year-old with cancer, Harris?
Look, the 6-year-old has to live with an adult. Come on, don't get cheesy.
I just got back from Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras. Those countries are excited to get their citizens home. This is a win-win for everyone.
We shouldn't stop something like tipping people off to ICE agents for their own protection because you don't like other things about the process. Well, I thought you could do many things at one time.
A bunch of liberals, socialists, and Marxists are out there lying about what President Trump is doing. President Trump is upholding freedom by what he is doing.
We're going out to Alligator Alcatraz. It's the East Coast version, and it should be very exciting.
Because those liberals, and I'm calling out you, CNN, I'm calling you out because you lie every single day about what these operations are.
Hakeem Jeffries was wrong, and so are you and anybody else.
Joe Biden let the worst of the worst come in here.
We'll be back here pretty early.
They had detained a cannibal and put him on a plane to take him home, and while they had him in his seat, he started to eat himself. And they had to get him off and get him medical attention.
They don't care. They have every right.
They are so deranged they don't belong here. And they shouldn't be walking the streets with our children.
What do you think, Caroline?
Mr. President, thank you for Stephen Miller. I just want to thank you for him. This guy calls me night and day.
Let's unmask these agents. I want him then to be tasked with protecting.
He's a rock star because he loves this country and he's passionate about making sure that nobody is prioritized.
I think he's terrible. He's a communist. The last thing we need is a communist. I said there will never be socialism.
We love everybody. We do. We love everybody.
Not everybody.
But, well,
a lot of people.
But we shouldn't be.
What offends me personally would be, for example, the illegal immigrant that set the subway rider on fire here in my city, and the list that goes on.
When Christie's name was put before me, by Tom Homan, by the way, because I wanted him for the border, and somehow I thought that was going to be good in that sort, but he didn't want the upper job. We have a communist. I think it's bad news, and I think I'm going to have a lot of fun. She's great, but she's such a fine, elegant person.
What offends me is the notion that there are people that are trying to protect.
But you are, if you ever saw her ride a horse, she rides a horse like she should be in the rodeo. She's like an unbelievable horse person. We will have a communist for the first time, really, a pure, true communist. Steve Miller would even agree to that. And he likes nobody, by the way. I don't think he likes anybody.
I am very disappointed in CNN. I know you don't want to give them any attention, but I mean, I've been in TV news a number of years.
Back to Florida, and I think this is the first time you've been back since the events of a couple weeks. So just let me say, as somebody...
He wants to operate the grocery stores, the department stores.
A militant Islamic regime that was hell-bent on getting nuclear weapons, and under Joe Biden, they were about to get nuclear weapons.
So have you, Harris? Yeah. There's a certain amount of responsibility when you put something on your air. Somebody there had to know that this was a very controversial thing to put on their air.
I know a lot of veterans, thank you, and people in Florida.
We want to get our hostages back. We want to get the hostages.
I knew he was going to do the border.
I mean, are they so ratings challenged they'll throw up all the rules and regulations of TV news and just put anything on their air?
Biden let in how many millions of people? And you had millions that had been in over decades before.
It's a big bill, and smaller bills would have been easy, but they wouldn't have been as good.
You can't have a country if foreigners get to decide.
I need someone to walk through something with me because I'm genuinely freaking out about what I found.
It's really instrumental in rounding up a lot of really bad people.
With the alligator Alcatraz, it's the idea that if some illegal immigrant escapes, they just get eaten by an alligator or a snake or something.
I guess that's the concept.
You could have illegals in Florida. Biden would just release them.
And I need someone to tell me that this isn't as bad as it looks.
You drive them 2,000 feet to the runway, and then they're gone. It's a one-stop shop.
You know, snakes are fast, but alligators are, we're going to teach them how to run away from an alligator, okay? If they escape prison. How to run away. Don't run in a straight line. Run like this. And you know what? Your chances go up about 1%.
This airport that's been here for a long time is the perfectly secure location.
So I'm always keeping an ear to the ground when it comes to biotech, especially wearable biotech, because I hate how these health devices are kind of just major data collection tools.
This is the opposite of what they were doing in New York.
So he's coming here. We're going to talk about a lot of things. We're going to talk about the great success we had. I mean, we had an incredible, in Iran, we had an incredible success. Like really nobody's had in many, many years. That was a precision war strike. And the word obliteration can now be used because the Atomic Energy Commission said you can't even get into the place. It was demolished.
This is a force multiplier for the president's efforts.
And on June 24th, RFK Jr. was in a congressional hearing, and he had said something that kind of bothered me.
There is no reason why other states can't be doing.
Dozier is the monster that happened.
My name is Kevin.
He said that my vision is every American is wearing a wearable within 4 years. To me, this didn't sound like him encouraging people to get fitness trackers.
Make no mistake, this facility would not be standing here.
Might have to go back and eat Elon. Wouldn't that be terrible? He gets a lot of subsidies, Peter.
Even before the president took office, the governor made it.
It sounded like a federal mandate that he wanted everyone to wear biotech monitoring devices by 2029.
Leading the nation in hurricane response and other natural disasters.
You have a hydrogen car, it has one problem, it blows up, you know?
Our teams built roads in 8 hours, bridges in 3 days, base camps in 72 hours.
I'm like, okay, well, where's this money coming from? I mean, you can't put a bunch of surveillance devices on 330 million people without some sort of massive funding, because I assume that that's kind of what he's talking about.
We're able to translate this knowledge to what we did here at Alligator Alcatraz.
Everything's going well. Honestly, everything's just very complicated because it's very big, a lot of different areas.
Check their individual logos and egos at the door to get this done. Not just for you, Governor, but Mr. President, for you as well.
So I go looking for the money. I decide to start digging through Trump's big, beautiful bill because I figure if there's any biotech surveillance funding, it's got to be buried in there somewhere.
Behind you on these boards.
Look, the Republicans have their heart in it. The Democrats just want to destroy our country.
This is Florida, by the way. Power supply is fully redundant.
As I'm reading through it, I'm seeing all of these cuts that we've been talking about all week, right? Like they're cutting the NIH budget by 40%, the CDC by 50%. Like they're literally dismantling agencies that do actual medical research and disease prevention.
200 security cameras throughout the facility, more than 28,000 feet of barbed wire, 400 plus security personnel to include 200 men and women, soldiers and airmen underneath Major General John Haas's command.
A Democrat wants to destroy the country. They won't vote on it. They don't vote on anything. This is the biggest tax cut in history.
It's all surrounded, as you pointed out, Mr. President, by 10 miles of beautiful Florida Everglades. Contingencies.
And it's absolutely disgusting. But then I see this line item, and it's for $25 billion for something called Rural Health Transformation Program.
We have a hurricane plan. We will not wait for a Cat 2. We will follow our normal evacuation procedures as we do for any other facility statewide in our great state of Florida. We have on-site fire and EMS resources so that we do not we don't burden the locals with any type of response.
Everything is the biggest in history.
This has been a perfect state logistics exercise for this hurricane season.
And I'm thinking to myself, like, wait a second, so you are destroying real medical research, defunding rural hospitals to the point of closure, but spending $25 billion on rural health? Like, what is that? This is the first I'm hearing of this.
Our sheriffs are out there every single day. They are arresting these criminal aliens in our streets, and they're seeing some backlog in their jails.
Nice guy, Peter. Very nice guy.
We had a side conversation about, I know there were some concerns. People were like, well, what happens if a hurricane comes? What happens if this happens? And I looked at Kevin Guthrie and I said, you already have a plan, don't you?
So I start digging into whatever this rural health transformation system is and what it actually means.
This is what Florida does.
Hopefully soon, hopefully today. I'm waiting, listening to these wonderful words, and they are music to my ears.
What it is remote monitoring, robotics, artificial intelligence, and other advanced technologies.
But I was also wondering how we're doing, because I know this is prime time. It shows that I care about you because I'm here and I probably should be there. There's never been a president better to Alaska than me. But this doesn't mean people appreciate it.
We are going to continue to make arrests, our pedals to the metal, as many as we can. We want to fill this place up.
And that always makes me pause, right? Technologia.
Why not some detention facilities? Hopefully there's more to come.
What do you tell the Catholic bishops, sir?
I think we're going to have a good relationship with the Catholic bishops.
Now look, investing in AI and technology for healthcare isn't weird. Like, that's exactly what we should be doing to help patients and advance medical care.
We've got our own natural Alcatraz in the middle of the Everglades.
We have very good relationships, and we'll see what happens. We deal with them, and we deal with them well, but I won the Catholic population by a lot. I heard you were responsible for the locational pick, and you cannot have picked a better location.
But here's what doesn't make sense to me. You don't defund the NIH and the CDC while simultaneously spending $25 billion on a rural health program. Like, this does not feel like an improvement to rural health, obviously.
I know you're taking a little heat from some environmental groups, but I take it all the time, and that's an honor. The trip was nice, and the job they've done is fantastic. We'll go back and celebrate the big, beautiful bill that just got passed. You should.
It feels like a replacement to rural health.
God had a plan for us, and it was Donald Trump. So thank you for that.
8 days, a new facility was up and running, so.
And is this the model going forward?
We're going to get these illegal criminals out of this state.
Oh, but then I noticed there's a timeline attached to this budget because $20 billion of that $25 billion gets spent in just the years 2028 and 2029 alone. The same years RFK Jr.'s wearables has a deadline for us, right?
I'm a member of your Homeland Security Advisory Council, your vice chairman. Thank you for that appointment.
You did that quicker than, we knew you'd do it, but you did it so quick, which is great.
Yeah, appreciate it for a long time. Appreciate it. By the way, Okeechobee is something that we did together.
So that's interesting. This is when I went from confused to actually scared. So Peter Thiel's company, Palantir, you know, the surveillance company that builds spy tools for the government, well, he just got a $443 million contract with the CDC. Yeah, the same CDC that they're defunding by 50%.
We did a Rolls-Royce job, but it's a lot of money that we spent out there together.
But Biden
would do that.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, let me ask myself permission. Permission granted. Go ahead, get the thing, get it complete.
So they're destroying the public health agency and then paying Peter Thiel's surveillance company to take over its data functions.
We just want to thank you for allowing us to do our job again. We've got very red states that should be doing this.
I just want to say on a personal note, getting to watch what you've done over the last 5 months to deliver on a 50-year hope and dream of the American people to secure the border.
And look, whenever I think about Peter Thiel, I know that Elon Musk also is probably involved because those two are thick as thieves, quite literally.
I had senior staff in foreign governments come up to me and ask me how he achieved the Trump miracle.
We have Louisiana doing it big, Alabama's doing it. We have a lot of states. They seem to be red states, and not too many blue states for whatever reason, you know. But the red states, Republican-run states are doing it.
There are 2 billion people in the world that would economically benefit from illegally coming.
I mean, Thiel bought J.D. Vance's seat in the White House and Musk bought Donald Trump's. So I just assume they're running the country.
Through the deployment of the military, through the deployment of novel legal and diplomatic tools.
This is unique because we can hold individuals here, they can have their hearings, get due process, and then immediately be flown back.
I'm proud to be able to play any role in it. And what President Trump is going to achieve next.
So while Thiel's getting all of these healthcare data contracts, like, what's Musk doing? You know, he's been very vocal about hating this bill. It doesn't benefit him, right?
This one, I know Ron's doing a second one, at least a second one, and probably a couple of more. And, you know, at some point, they might morph into a system.
I just got home from Panama, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Honduras, and they're all excited about getting their individuals back home from the United States.
They did this in less than a week. And you look at it, it's incredible. The incredible thing is picking the site, because the site was one of the most natural sites.
So I check on Neuralink, which is Musk's brain chip company, and I find out that they had just selected in January the University of Miami as their second U.S. site for human brain implant trials.
That's a spooky one too, isn't it? That's a tough site. But, so I think I flew over the Everglades, we did a little circle, I said, let me... Unfortunately, I'd like to say it, you know, a little controversial, but I couldn't care less.
Yes, you heard that right. In fact, they literally just completed one of their first ever human brain chip surgeries like 2 days ago. No, I'm not kidding. I wish I was. Sure am not.
They came in stupidly. It was an unforced error. It was an incompetent president that allowed it to happen. It was an auto pen maybe that allowed it to happen. And it did happen, but we also have a lot of bad people.
So when you guys go over there, you'll see all the beds, the medical, the galley, everything is on the concrete. We're not using any of the other stuff. Now, as you'll see, there's a lot of concrete.
That have been here for a long time. People that whack people over the head with a baseball bat from behind when they're not looking and kill them. People that knife you when you're walking down the street.
Now look, I want to be clear that the University of Miami has a very legit reputation when it comes to like brain research and helping paralyzed patients.
They're not new to our country. They're old to our country. Many of them were born in our country. I think we ought to get them the hell out of here, too. You want to know the truth.
One of the things I think that is exciting about this is we're offering up our National Guard and other folks in Florida to be deputized to be immigration judges.
So maybe that'll be the next job that we'll work on together.
So on the surface, this kind of partnership makes sense. And if we were talking about a doctor who cares about the well-being of others, that would be one thing.
Why hasn't he been arrested yet?
But you still have bureaucracy, so we want to cut through that.
Pardons were given out by many to many people.
But we're talking about Elon Musk here, the same guy who has reportedly 1,500 animals since 2018 at Neuralink medical facilities for failed medical experiments. And employees have actually come forward and complained about these hack jobs because Elon Musk is always pressuring them to move fast. Like, move fast and break things, except for these things this time are living beings.
Was he given a pardon, Mayorkas? Was he not?
I don't believe so.
Well, I'd take a look at that one. The worst of the worst, always first. Yeah. He was given orders.
And he's always stated that his goal is not just about helping patients, but that he wants symbiosis with artificial intelligence. That's actually the mission statement on Neuralink's website.
He was impeached, but yeah, it was just a fake impeachment. It was a fake impeachment.
Mr. President, in 2018, you suggested putting alligators in the Rio Grande to prevent crossings in Texas. Is this a dream come true for you, sir?
Well, I was thinking about that, I must say. It was meant more as a joke. He followed orders, but that doesn't necessarily hold him harmless.
So, because there's always a modus operandi behind everything they do, I'm thinking to myself, well, why Florida specifically?
We have had several 100,000, but also we have many that have self-deported, not even using the CBP Home app.
They were actually crocodiles. They were crocodiles from Africa. They are a step beyond.
We believe it's over 1 million, possibly more than that. I'm asking all of those countries for their information.
Like, there's a lot of great neuroscience programs across the United States. What's so special about Florida?
Again, too. So we know it's over 1 million, but we have to...
A lot of people liked it, and a lot of people think we should do it, Greg. There is something for everyone.
And this is when it gets dark. I'm just going to warn anyone who's still watching.
Are you saying that the estimated 11.8 million people who could lose their health coverage, that is all waste, fraud, and abuse?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying it's going to be a very much smaller number. The Democrats have it wrong. Yeah. Waste, fraud, and abuse. They took a much more liberal stance on the Medicaid situation than they could have. They had a tough stance and a weak stance. They took not a very strong stance.
I start digging around in Florida legislation and I see that on May 30th, DeSantis had vetoed a bill that would have let families sue doctors for medical malpractice if it resulted in death.
What analysis are you seeing?
I'm not seeing a number, but I know it's much less than the number you gave. They have no idea. Medicaid is in big trouble. We really were very, very cognizant of three things.
Like, he vetoed that bill. And that's just the tip of the iceberg, because Florida, while under DeSantis's rule, has become an experimental playground for all kinds of policies that would never fly in any other state.
The numbers don't work. So it's not going to happen. They're the ones that have destroyed they have made it so bad already, they're going to make it a lot worse. But now we'll be in charge. We had a great hit. It was a obliteration. Okay, now it turns out it was an obliteration. You know, they demean CNN mostly and the New York Times, fake New York Times. I won the farmers by 92%, and I'm not going to be abandoning my farmers. We were strong on the borders, but we're also strong for the farmers and for others in the hotel industry, etc. CNN said, well, they did okay, but maybe it wasn't. Let me tell you, it was beyond obliteration.
He's consistently using emergency powers to bypass normal oversight, testing controversial programs, and pushing the boundaries of what's legally actually possible in the United States of America.
They're not going to have citizenship, but they'll be working, they'll be paying taxes. I'll speak for both of us. We love it. Okay, you're going to like this one. I know all about it. We want to bring our elections back. The election in 2020 was rigged, millions and millions of votes. It was tried once before, many, many years ago, where there was a very strong guy, and he got everybody out, and every farm, almost in the country, but every farm in California, every farm in Iowa, almost all the farms went bankrupt. They had nobody to work. They tried this one too, but after about 9:02, they gave up too many votes, too big to rig.
Florida, I'm so sorry for everybody who has to live under Ron DeSantis.
We're going to work it. We're going to put our farmers and others in charge of the people that they have under them. They know the people.
California would lose like 5 seats if they did a fair census. And even beyond that, the Biden census gypped Florida of at least 1 seat.
How do you respond to critics?
Are you trying to tell me that Florida only had 1 seat in that? We should have had at least 2. Texas should have had another one.
I was one of those that invested billions of dollars and hundreds of millions of dollars right here.
So what if Florida wasn't just chosen because of UM's research reputation? Like, what if it was chosen because DeSantis has created the perfect environment for experimental procedures with minimal legal consequences?
I think what's going to happen is Doge is going to look at Musk. And if Doge looks at Musk, we're going to save a fortune. Thank you very much, everybody. I don't think you should be playing that game with me.
Mr. President, July 9th terror guidelines.
We'll be gone 1,000,000 years, and this land is still going to be here. I thought this was so professional and so well done that you should come and look at it as opposed to standing around and not knowing where we are. You'll have the water moccasins. You'll have the alligators. You may not have people. And we're just taking tours through the areas where they stay and the areas where the medical is and all. And they've really done between...
A place where you could potentially test things on people that you couldn't get away with literally anywhere else.
I give the governor a lot of credit for using this piece of land. It's the biggest tax increase in the history of our country. That alone, 68% increase.
They have, Kevin, all these guys, have...
What they did there we think is totally illegal. Okay, let's go.
And look, maybe these brain chips are doing some net good and it's all very above the board and everybody is happy, taken care of, and their lives are better.
I don't think those are valid and even good faith criticisms. It's been a champion. We've been a champion, really changed the game.
When we landed that very big, heavy plane today, they came out and checked it.
Except there are a handful of people whose lives actively aren't better right now in Florida. And those are the people going to Alligator Alcatraz.
The man that is leading them has a reputation. He was the head of some pretty tough organizations, and a lot of people criticize me for that. It's going to be, by nature, I would think, Ron, they'll be pretty tough, and he is pretty tough. But I met him, spent a lot of time with him.
So I decided to check the distance, from the detention center where thousands of people are going to be held against their will.
I took off the sanctions and they were very appreciative. They were shocked, but they were very appreciative.
Alcatraz.
Mr. President, your beloved New York City may well be led by a communist soon.
To the University of Miami, where Elon Musk and Neuralink are actively doing brain implant experiments. Perhaps some of you see where I'm going with this.
We'll have to arrest him. Look, we don't need a communist in this country, but if we have one, I'm going to be watching over him very carefully.
When's the first person checking into the room, sir?
Tomorrow. Hopefully tomorrow, within the next 24 hours.
We send him money. We send him all the things that he needs to run a government.
Make sure there's nothing can be used as weapons or any contraband. And then once that's cleared, then they'll do so. It's really up to Secretary.
Sometimes people say Florida gets more because they count Social Security recipients, but that's not money to the state. Those are seniors.
So I Google Maps it, and my heart kind of sinks because it's a lot closer than I thought it would be. It's about 45 miles apart.
He's going to turn out to be much less than a communist, but right now he's a communist. That's not a socialist. You know, I've always said we will not have socialism.
I think our viewers at home should note that this is air-conditioned facility.
Skip socialism, and you got a lot of them like that. And you see AOC, she's out there with her, you know, bad IQ.
It's probably 62 degrees in here, or 72.
Hey, Biden wanted me in here, okay? He wanted me, it didn't work out that way, but he wanted me in here.
She's out there ranting and raving about how wonderful he is.
So, like, I'm sitting here thinking, like, there's no way he's going to do what I'm thinking he's going to do, right?
You have a good independent running, Mayor Adams, who's a very good person. I helped him out a little bit. He had a problem, and he was unfairly hurt.
A lot of things, and they're both telling me that these people come in here, they want to go home. And they want to go home, so we immediately send them home.
This is terrible. New York City can't have all these immigrants come in. And like he was indicted the following day. And I said, that was a phony indictment. And it was a phony indictment. That was a Biden indictment.
Like, there's no logical reason why these two things should be connected, right?
Don't feel bad. I got indicted 5 times every time you opened your mouth. That was a bad group. That was a very dangerous group.
Somebody's a real killer.
They had no policy. They had no skill. They had no anything. But they were very good at that. They were vicious, vicious, horrible people.
And again, I want to be clear here. I'm not trying to implicate the University of Miami in anything. Like, they have been a legitimate research center for the better half of 40 years, helping patients who are paralyzed. Like, they are legit as fuck.
Would you be open to that?
Yes, he has my approval. That wasn't too hard to get, was it, front? He didn't even have to ask me, James. You didn't even need James to ask me. He has my approval.
Incompetent. It was radical left, lunatic, communist, whatever you want to say. I know most of them.
I would say right after our wonderful Independence Day, we will be starting construction.
And Elon Musk uses his own surgeons, I'm pretty sure.
That's great. Wow. Well, I love these runways. It's very convenient.
25 million people flown in. From all over the world, from prisons, from all over the world they flown in. For no reason whatsoever.
I will tell you, it's tough to get a runway. Although in the age of Trump, you get them approved fast, you know. We're approving massive electrical bins, what they call them, bins.
Anyways, the thing is, like, look at who gets hurt by this, by all of this.
What is the next campaign promise that you plan to fulfill to the American people?
It's what they're doing. They said, go in. That's it. You look at the first day tapes. They opened it up and they said, go in. And that's where all of this began.
I've said it a little publicly, I guess, but I met a lot of very important people. The King of Saudi Arabia, I was there 2 weeks ago, and Qatar, the leader of Qatar, who's great, and the leader of UAE, who's great. These are very substantial people, very smart people, and good people.
When you put it all together, like, when you defund the NIH and the CDC and rural hospitals close, like, it's always poor people who lose access to healthcare.
But every leader said that a year ago, this country was dead. They had no confidence in the United. They really felt it was a dead country.
But if you wait and we bring you to this facility, you don't ever get to come back to America.
Now they said you have the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're the hottest country in the world right now. And we turned it around fast. I thought it would take longer than this. We turned it around fast. Some of it was psychology.
So if you want to control those communities, or let's say you want to have predictive police surveillance, what do? You destroy the healthcare systems and the infrastructures that serve those low-income populations.
I signed more executive orders than anybody in history.
Even if they get brought to the front doorstep here, they still have an opportunity to just go back voluntarily.
You buy a house, they have a faucet in the house, Joe, and the faucet, the water doesn't come out. They have a restrictor. You can't, in areas where you have so much water, they don't know what to do with it. You have a shower head, the shower doesn't, you think it's not working. It is working. The water's dripping out. And that's no good for me.
And then you say, oh, don't worry, we have a solution for you. And it's surveillance technology disguised as healthcare. They become dependent on the tech because they have no other options.
I like this hair nice and, I like that hair nice and wet. Takes you have to stand in the shower for 20 minutes before you get the soap out of your hair. And I put a thing in, and it sounds funny, but it's really not. It's horrible.
Will buy their plane ticket, go home, and then they get the chance to come back legally. If they wait,
When you wash your hands, you turn on the faucet, no water comes out. You're washing, water barely comes out. This was done by crazy people.
You took those away. You defunded those. And if you've just cut healthcare for millions of people, then that means the clock's a ticking.
One of the first things that Biden did when he came back is he put the restriction on showers, toilets, and sinks. Put this restriction, and washing machines. Washing machine, they give you like a quarter of this bottle to do your clothing. And people needed 10 of these bottles.
They can pay taxes and everything. They're not getting citizenship.
Do you have any problems with water? No, we have so much we don't know what to do with it. You know, it comes down from heaven, right?
Farmers need them to do the work. Without those people, you're not going to be able to run your farm.
The straw. I let you go back to a plastic straw. I was tired of having straws melt in my mouth, you know? It wasn't working. The paper wasn't working too well. So these are little things that I did.
Because if I also remember correctly, then you need to have this biotech ready to go by no later than 2028.
If you don't have borders in this country, borders and good elections, and we're working on that next.
Excuse me? I think it's a 10. Maybe 9-9, because there might be a couple of little ones. So maybe it's 9. I think we have a 10.
You're stuck. You know what you do? You have dirty plates the next day. That's it.
Obviously, we saved them a lot of money in Florida because Florida was a deep red state.
Most states have so much water they don't know what to do with it.
So you either need a lot of human volunteers or you need a group of detained immigrants who maybe can't consent, can't sue, can't speak out.
Thoughts on the energy sector?
So it holds 77 million barrels, and we had it up to the top, if you remember. And I was proud of that.
We had a tremendous success with Iran. Somebody said, when are you going to sign? I said, sign? They are so bombed out.
When he came in, he started using it to keep oil prices down because he blew.
It would be very hard for them to do anything without sanctions.
Our energy policy out. Energy is what caused energy.
Did you intend to announce your pick for successor to Jay Powell?
Gasoline just hit $1.99 today in 5 states. $1.99, isn't that a nice sound? It was up to $4, and going up to $5, $6, and $7. In California, it was $7.70.
She'd be a good candidate. Anybody would be better than Jay Powell. No, he's causing us a fortune because he keeps the rate way up. I think it's Trump derangement syndrome.
What are you going to do about eggs? I said I just got here. I didn't know anything about eggs. I had to call you.
What was the name of that other place that performed criminal medical experiments on prisoners? Ugh.
Groceries. A simple word like that, groceries, it was like almost a strange word. I hadn't heard the word in so long, but what could be more beautiful than the word grocery?
I told you, I was in the Middle East. The King of Saudi Arabia said to be very strong.
We're going to fill up the it's called the Strategic National Reserves. I had it topped out, and this guy would use them every time before the election. He'd use them whenever they had an election. It was artificial.
We're the hottest country in the world. Thank you very much.
I was going to say Syria.
They brought it right down to the bottom. The thing is practically empty. They never filled it up. They never spent 10 cents in filling it up. And we'll do that. When the market is right, we'll fill it up. I want to fill it up when the market's right.
Mr. President, is there an expected time frame that detainees will spend here, days, weeks, months? And does that have anything to do with the immigration judges?
When you say, what was the first part of your question?
Is there a specific time frame you expect the detainees to spend here? Days, weeks, months?
In Florida?
Yes, here at Alligator Alcatraz.
I'm going to spend a lot. Look, this is my home state. I love it. I love your government. I love all the people around. These are all friends of mine. I'll spend a lot of time here. I want to, for 4 years, I've got to be in Washington, and I'm okay with it because I love the White House. I even fix up the little Oval Office. I make it, it's like a diamond. It's beautiful. It's so beautiful. It wasn't maintained properly, I will tell you that. I'm a big contributor to Florida. I pay a lot of tax. The taxes are so high in New York, they're leaving. I'll be here as much as I can. Very nice question. I also appreciate the media. They've treated us very fairly. Over the last few weeks, I've been treated very nicely. And it's so unusual. I'm not used to it, but we've gotten great accolades. Brian, I want to